if we can start there, what we're going to be talking about this morning for the next hour together is really about using listening skills and the concept of curiosity to enhance our relationships and to co-create the things that we want. And I think almost every one of us all of us on this call have clients or people that we serve, right? And as we build relationships with those that we serve, we can deepen those relationships with this concept of curiosity. Because as we get to know them better, whether they're a business or a single individual, and even a business is through single individual relationships, we really can deepen that interaction when we're able to use curiosity as a tool. And I found it to be incredibly game changing in my own career and life. And I continue every day to practice, because sometimes I'm not good at it. Sometimes I get excited and I want to like share my idea, and I'm not always thinking in terms of curiosity doesn't automatically come in this power of listening. And it's something that when we create space for it, that we can have this constant reminder. Miguel, welcome to you. I see your name and glad you've been able to join us.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. So I'm going to share my screen quickly here. Well, actually, before I share the screen, I want you to know that we're going to do a quick exercise just to introduce all of us. And so when I share the screen, that's what this has to do with. So I'll give you a quick visual, and then I'm going to come back to our beautiful faces. But we are going to go around the circle, and just what I'd like each person to do, and we're going to create a minute for you to think about this, is what is a personal value that you have, what is something that you bring to the work that you do? So a personal value that you bring to the work that you do. And one of the things that I think is helpful when we do this exercise is instead of waiting for hands to be raised, is when you are I'll maybe pick one person. Maybe we can go with a raised hand for the first person that's ready, so I don't pick somebody that's completely not ready. And then when you say it, if you can just maybe popcorn, you pick somebody else to go next, if that feels okay with all of you. Does that feel all right with all of you?
Can we get an example of what you mean by that?
Yes. So one of my personal values is kindness, is really starting my day with, reminding myself that I want to enter the world each morning as I go about what I do with kindness. And the way that impacts my world is today, I was dropping my dog off at doggy daycare, and I was coming back across this bridge to where I live. And this gentleman was just flying up on me behind me in my car. And then he cut somebody off behind, kind of next to me. And then he was going to cut me off. And I was like about to blast my horn. And I thought, let's just be kind. That guy is clearly in a tough space mentally, that, they feel like they've just got to be, pole positioning to get where they're going. And I just backed off and gave him the space. And so I like to feel like I sent that positive energy forward. That's something that I feel like I bring to my work every day. Does that help? So just a thing that you feel that you personally, it doesn't have to be technically a value, but something that you personally bring to your work. Does that help? So if anybody feels like they could start, you can raise your hand. Okay, Renata.
Sorry. So it's, clearly it's something that I always have to think about, like I know I don't always do, but following through, like doing what I say I'm going to do. If I tell somebody I'm going to do something, that's really important to me. And I know I don't always manage to do it, but then I always feel really incredibly guilty when I haven't. So we're working on that too. But that follows through of being just making sure that if I've said I'm going to do something, I actually do it.
Right. And that's linked with like integrity, right? I love that.
I was going to say integrity, but I wanted to be more
I like
specific.
that. That's good. I like the specificity. Bill, I
And
saw
I'm
you
going to
raise your
pick
hand.
Bill because you raised
There you
your hand.
go.
For me, I think one thing that I do without thinking sometimes and put too much thought into sometimes is trying to see things from the other person's viewpoint. And that gets me into trouble sometimes because I forget my own position, or not forget it, but put too much on trying to understand from the other person's point of view. But yeah, it's.
And empathy is a beautiful thing. Thank you. Do you want to pick someone, or does someone want to raise your hands? We can use both tools.
Well, Michelin's waving her hand.
Excellent.
I just, excuse me, I'm sorry. Compassion is what pops into my head. In my role, I don't think, I think it just comes naturally for me, but you know, just trying to put more specific, you know, focus on that compassion, additional focus, I guess. You know, I talked to so many people, you know, about their needs and concerns and fears. And I don't know, I think that ties into listening.
Absolutely.
I tend to be one who will listen more.
That's a beautiful example.
Thank you.
Thank you. Charlene? You're muted right now. Charlene? Can you unmute?
There we go.
There you go.
I'm a nurturer. And so I think that's what I bring to the table here. I like to nurture relationships, nurture the positive ability in people, and you know, relationships, it works well here because we have the relationships with our caregivers and with our clients. So
that's
I don't know, I've always been a nurturer, and I think, yeah, I think that that's probably the best thing I bring to the table.
It's a superpower. Who else would like to go? Yay. Lori, I think you may have raised your hand first.
Good morning. The first thing that came to mind is fairness. I feel like I really try to listen to different viewpoints, sometimes better than others as far as truly listening. Like I think that truly listening is always challenging, especially when there's a lot going on and a lot to do. But I feel like I have this need to have things be fair and appear fair. So that was the first thing that came to mind.
I love that. Nice. Meg, I saw you raise your hand.
I would say for me, the first thing that came to mind is authenticity. That's really important to me. It's important that the story that you build and the image that you present is, you know, kind of backed up by your actions. It's not just what you think people want to hear or you think makes a good story. It's, you know, kind of that you don't just walk or talk the talk, you walk the walk. So that's always really important to I hope that I present that. I think I have a little bit of like a theater background, so sometimes I worry that I don't present that well, but it's important to me that others do.
I can say that you do. That's beautiful. Jennifer, I saw you raise your hand.
For me, the first thing that came to my mind was caring. So for me, it's important that I care about my coworkers, the company that, you know, that I'm working for, and anybody that I talk to.
Nice. Thank you. Who else? Kathy went first, I think. Sorry, Miguel.
Oh,
Go ahead,
okay.
Kathy.
I know I'm starting to get nervous, like everybody's choosing
Yeah.
all my words.
That's great.
And
Give
it's
your
funny 'cause-
themes.
yeah. Well, I mean, I was gonna choose empathy was my word, just because I do feel that, I'm always trying to understand what's going on. If somebody says something, like what is behind that? So I think it's the ability to pause and think and just realize that everybody has things going on in their lives. So it's not just, it's they don't react the way I might react to a situation. So it's just sort of always trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. But I guess if that's been used, then maybe I'd say honesty.
Those
So,
are this is about yours.
Okay.
So it's okay that there are themes running through here. It's actually a beautiful
Okay.
thing.
Okay.
Thank
Good.
you. Kathy.
Well, there you go.
Beautiful. Miguel.
Okay, thank you. I think humbleness, because everybody's important, and we are like pieces of a clock, and everybody has a certain job, and we need to be humble and to respect others and put on their shoes and see things how they see the things, and also have empathy with them.
Yes. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Autumn, did you go? You haven't gone, right?
No, I haven't gone yet. So mine kind of goes along with Jen's and caring. I was going to say heart, just because I have held a few different hats in what we do, and I've worked well with clients, caregivers, I've worked with the office staff. So I've seen it from multiple points of view, and I just put that into everything I do every day.
I love that. So in the spirit of what this call is about, right? This time together, I would love you guys to put into chat what you heard. So what did you hear? It can just be a word, it can be a sentence. Just put that into chat, what you heard from others here. Because there's a theme already brewing that is perfect for what we're doing today. If you can see the chat, go ahead and just click it. And then you should be able to put things in. And I'll read them back as I see them come up. Yes, compassion and empathy, considering others' perspectives, focused on caring about others, empathy, humanity, putting your whole heart into everything you do, positive mindset, compassion. Like those are beautiful things. And what's fantastic about this and understanding, caring, listening, authenticity, yes. So what's beautiful about this is that these are exactly the things, I'm going to share my screen here again. These are the things that lead to great listening. When you come at listening with these values of empathy and caring and compassion in your heart, then we create space to be better listeners. So we're talking about curiosity today, and a couple of folks that were here were at the last presentation I did, and that's recorded out on the website if you weren't able to be there. But the types of listening that we typically get kind of trapped in is multitasking. So a lot of us are on Zoom calls all day thinking that we can handle two things at once. And so we're really not listening. We're off trying to get other things done at the same time. There's an acronym that I used called WOA, which I try to use all the time, is there are three things often that we're doing when we're listening as well, when we actually even are in a conversation and we're not multitasking. And that is W, waiting to talk. I do that a lot, especially when I'm in a high stakes situation. I'm trying to impress somebody. Know that this whole aspect of WOA typically means we're trying to connect, right? We're waiting to like show a good face or to be there. The second is kind of one-upmanship. We may not mean to do it, but where we hear something someone says and we go to connect with them, but then we kind of one-up it. Oh, I've done that, but I've also done this. And the third is the WOA is alliance. We are all the way through, maybe interrupting, saying, oh, that happened to me, right? Like that kind of example. So WOA is our types of listening, like when we're paying attention to how we're listening, when we're truly listening, we are listening with curiosity. Listening for content, the last one there before I move to curiosity, is really when you're kind of maybe recording notes at a meeting, right? Or being part of something where you are capturing data. That's a very valuable way of listening. What happens though is you're missing body language. You're missing all the other ways that we as human beings communicate. And so bringing your whole self. So this is the space that I was talking about at the beginning. When we are listening with curiosity, what we're doing is we are bringing our values, are the things that we just talked about, to the conversation, right? We are bringing empathy and compassion and kindness and those things to our conversation. And we're creating space to sit back and to notice, to listen. So you're learning from the data, which are the words that are coming from someone's mouth. You're also getting information from the emotion that's being expressed. So somebody, often people, their voices will rise up, right? If I'm trying to get something across because I'm really frustrated or I'm passionate about something, I love that thing, like you can hear it in their intonation, right? Or they might get really quiet because they might be afraid of telling you something, right? There might be a big pause. And a lot of times when there's a pause, when someone is speaking, we get uncomfortable. We want to fill it, right? We want to fill it. And the pauses and the space is the most beautiful place where curiosity can come in to play, right? When we create space. So think about the meetings. I'm going to stop sharing for a second because this is a really important piece of this. Think about everything that runs together in a day. And I'm just going to pick on Miguel. Unmute yourself for a second if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Picking on you. Tell me what a typical day looks like for you.
Okay, I wake my daughter and my son and prepare something for them to eat, and also I eat in my breakfast, and then I took my girls to the school, and I return and I work from home, and I stay seated by almost the 4 hours, but sometimes I stand up and go for coffee or water or something in order to move my body. But then my worry is about the QA is checking systems, and I found errors in the systems, or I create test cases to find those errors. And I had some meetings, and sometimes my kids interrupt me when I have the meeting, and sometimes I got angry, but sometimes it's okay. It's good to have them here near, and okay, and I relax and try to concentrate on that. But well, that's my whole day, I think, working from home.
How many can relate to what Miguel just said? And thank you for going through that. Can any of us relate to that?
You're welcome.
Yes, right? Our days, and this is at this higher level, right? So what Miguel just expressed was this, like my chest, I don't know if any of you felt this, but when Miguel was talking, my chest tightened. It tightened in relation to that's a lot, right? That's a lot that's happening. And I can say almost every person walking around us today is living that kind of experience. And so the reason I wanted to show that example, so that's an example of what our days are like, how we're each, coming into the world. And then we have how an actual conversation or a meeting is structured. So let's bring it down into that level of how a conversation is going or a meeting is going. Often we've got an agenda, if you're lucky, you've got an agenda, but that agenda does not have a space in it for listening, for truly like asking a question and then giving, like, as soon as we get the answer, at least this is in my case, in a big part of my career, I'd be, sitting down with a customer, because my job was customer and client relationships. And I'd sit down and I'd say, how's it going? Right? They'd answer it and, they'd answer the question. And then I'm going to be sharing screens here while I talk about this. They answer the question. And then I mark that down, like, okay, I'm sitting down. I feel like I'm setting the framework for having this conversation. After I started learning about these leadership practices, I started adding, some questions into my dialogue with the client. However, the way I was asking the questions was not leading to deeper dialogue. I was really not demonstrating curiosity. I would sit down and say, are things going well? That doesn't really lead to a big answer, right? It would be like, yes, things are going well, right? Or no, things are not going well. And here's why. Or, is what we provided to you last week meeting your needs? Like when we start these questions with folks that are, do, are, is, those questions often lead to shorter answers. Somebody can take it upon themselves to answer, with greater depth. However, when we are starting our questions off with folks with the who, what, when, where, why, with those words and leaving space. So these two concepts go together. We are starting our questions with who, what, when, where, why. And then we are leaving space to listen. And what I've learned is that if we leave space to ask 2 more times while someone's talking, it is amazing at what you can learn in that situation. Renato, do you mind being a little volunteer with me here?
I'd be happy to.
All right. What was the first concert you ever went to?
I'm not sure I can remember back that far. I don't actually know.
A favorite concert?
A favorite concert?
Mm-hmm.
Tom Petty at Red Rocks.
Wow. All right. That sounds so cool. Love that. Okay. So even though I said, what was it? It was pretty closed-ended. Mm-hmm. Now is my opportunity, when I've heard that answer, to say, who did you go with to that concert, Renata?
I went with some of I was going to say the godmothers, which means nothing to you, but some of my best college friends.
I love that. And do you remember how it felt to be there?
Oh, it was so fun. I mean, it was great to be there. It's just the most amazing setting. And then
what's the setting?
Amazing music. You have red rocks all around you, and then behind the stage, you can see all the way across the plains to Denver, basically.
Wow, really?
Beyond. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Oh my gosh. And Tom Petty, do you have a favorite song that he sings?
Yes. Wildflowers.
Oh, I love that song too. Nice. How did that feel for you guys? Did you feel the difference? And do you have a greater sense of just a little bit? That was like 1 minute.
It was really hard for me not to actually launch into a longer answer after your first question, just because of who I am.
And I love, which is fine. Just know that even if somebody launches into a longer answer, if we take the time to answer, to bring this curiosity, because what we often do, and Bill, you kind of led to this, is we have this automatic tape running in our brains all the time. So I do a lot of work around mindfulness, as you guys might know from the name of my company is Mindful Employer. And so I talk a lot about creating space to, and I've done meditation for a long time, and not meditation like, we think meditation kind of gets a bad rap because of like the guru image that is in our head. However, meditation as a tool for understanding that we are multi-dimensional beings. Our brain is just one aspect of our physical being, and it's a thought generating machine. We are programmed to relate to people and to believe that we're relating to people, right? So you sit down with somebody, they say something, and we're automatically relating to them. Like, oh, I've done that, and oh, I experienced that, and you think that you think that we actually know maybe the answer or what they're describing. What I've learned and what I continue to learn on a daily basis is when I take the time to answer that next level question, I had no idea where they were really coming from in my initial little tapes that were playing in my brain. And the reason I brought up meditation is that practice of being still and dropping out of your thinking brain, John Kabat-Zinn calls it our thought producing machine, and knowing that there's this whole other part of us that is, we see, we hear, we taste, we can smell and feel. When we engage all of those senses as we're listening, that is the space of creating, like coming into a conversation with pure curiosity. Does that make sense? I want to open it up now and just see if this is resonating with anybody. What's resonating with somebody? Anybody raise your hand, and if there's anything resonating there. No. All right. Is it making sense? Nod your head if it's making sense. Okay. So when we listen from this space of curiosity, and especially as, like, I'll use an example when I went in to this customer. I was once given this role of bringing there was two leaders of these two companies came in to this basically wherever they met. I don't know. I think it might have even been a bar after a dinner. And they basically made a deal on a napkin that they each said, yes, we're going to build this product together. And we are going to serve, basically it was 100,000 people that they were serving when building this product. And, but it wasn't it wasn't on paper. There wasn't even a request for proposal or anything. They had just made this deal and they wanted to go forward with it. And I was given the honor of making that happen. And I was scared out of my mind. I'm like, how the hell am I going to do this? Right? Like, there's nothing to go on. And what am I going to do? And so it just came through me, honestly. It was an idea that came to me in my sleep. Thank you. And I thought, I'm just going to go on a listening tour right now. I think I had heard somebody going on this listening tour, like it was in a political realm. And I thought, I can do that with these guys. Right. So I went on a listening tour with the client and first listened to what they understood that they bought. Then I went on a listening tour inside the company to see what it was they thought we sold. And what I did was I went into the middle and I found every single thing that matched. And then I created these two lists of things that didn't match. And that, so we kind of came, and so we had like a big part of the agreement was like matching up. At least because we knew, like, at some level, they know what our company offered. And at some level, our folks knew what the customer wanted. We just needed, if we're building a new product, we needed to go on a discovery tour. And this tool is really important. This curiosity space is really important there, today, because this was, 15 years ago, but it's in end user thinking. Like, how many people talk about end user thinking or design thinking? We hear those terms more and more often. And, I know a lot of you are here in providing care to seniors in the home setting, and that end user experience is exactly what sets you apart. So under, this curiosity piece, and when you're serving customers, understanding what they think they're looking for is key. And so that really helped us bridge. And then we were able to know where the differences were and have conversations. And here's the beautiful thing about curiosity, you guys, when you're working on behalf of if you look at the thing that you're trying to create as something separate from you and separate from them, this is another like little key thing that just came into my thinking, is that it removes the pressure from you. It is so beautiful. I lost my nerve. Like, I got all nervous, meaning, and I came to this comfortable place because I realized that my job, this job of curiosity, is a job of facilitation. You're facilitating conversation. That's what bringing curiosity in to co-create something is really leading with curiosity. So we're going to do a fun practice. We're going to do a quick breakout here for about 10 or 15 minutes. And I think it'll be fun, because who doesn't want to have fun while we're learning, right? We are going to separate you into groups of 2. And we're going to you're going to pretend you guys are friends and you're going on a vacation together. All right. You are going to come together with your friend. And first, you guys are kind of new friends, but you were at a party or something, and you guys just hit it off. You're like, wow, this is a really fun person. And we're going to go on this vacation together because you realize you had the same week off. All right. Now you want to learn. You're going to spend the first, and I'll give you kind of pay attention to the top of your screen as you're in the breakouts, and I'll give you some, you guys can set your own timers if you want, but I'll give you a little notice that like the 2 minutes is up. For 2 minutes, you're going to just list out popcorn. This is a quick thing you can do with anyone. List out what you have in common. What are some of the interests that you have in common? Okay, that's going to be your first 2 minutes. I'm going to take a copy of this screen and I'm going to put it in the chat so you can download it so that you guys can reference this. And I'll do that before I set up the breakout sessions. The second thing that we're going to do for 3 minutes is we're going to brainstorm. You guys are going to brainstorm ideas of a vacation that could bring in some of the things that you have in common. Okay, does that make sense? So that's number 2. And then you're going to get 5 whole minutes to find out what else could you create in that space that you've chosen, that destination you've chosen, that could add value based on what you find your share interest to be, or what your individual interest could be, right? Like, it's not necessary that you stay joined at the hip for an entire week. So just, I'll give you a cheat there. So that's what we're going to do. And then we're going to come back and have one team report out. Does that feel like an okay exercise for all of you guys? Is that okay? All right. So let me, in the chat, I got to figure out how to do this. How do I? My computer. There we go. Open. All right, so in the chat is this is that little visual, just to give you guys a reminder of that. While you're downloading that, I'm going to go out and create the breakout rooms. And since there's 10 of us, one of you will be stuck with me. That's okay. So 2 to a room. Oh no. There we go. All right. So I'm going to create. What you're going to do is accept when you see the breakout happen. And then for the first 2 minutes, essentially, you'll brainstorm on what you have in common. You can say hi, but try to get right to it. Brainstorm about what you have in common. Then we'll do 3 minutes on what's a destination that could encompass those things. And then you'll get a whole nother 5 minutes to come up with, like, really getting in deeper, using your curiosity together in dialogue to come up with more things that you can do. Does that feel all right? Okay, we're going to go. I'm going to pause recording here.
Hi.
So how was that?
It was
Thumbs
fun.
up.
Good.
It was fun.
So did you find value in, were you able to use questions to get deeper in? To create?
Yes.
I'd love it if somebody raised their hand, and I'll just pick, that would describe that you feel like you really created a vacation that you never would have created on your own if you weren't, that you would actually like to go on. Did anybody create that kind of a vacation together? All right.
Well, I think the hang up is on the never would have gone on our own. But
Sorry.
Yeah.
Was there a vacation that you created, but because you asked each other questions, like that you even added to something that you might have created on your own? I guess that's a better way to say it, that you added through your interaction together things that you may not have thought of by yourself. Did anybody have an example like that? Yes.
Yeah.
So Meg, do you want to?
Yeah, I feel like I'm cheating a little bit because you were my partner, but
well, sorry, do you guys mind if Meg goes? She came up with these hilarious ideas that I think will be fun. So.
Well, I think like I shared interests that I enjoy, and Elizabeth had those common interests, but she took it a step further for me. So like I shared that I'm a foodie. I love going to restaurants that like use locally sourced ingredients and support local farmers, and that's really important to me. But Elizabeth took it to the next level of like, well, let's do a cooking class, like a farm to table cooking school while we're on vacation, where I wouldn't have gone there. I would have been like, let's just pick the places to eat that are amazing. But she brought that educational component to it that I loved, and I probably wouldn't have chosen to do. Like I would choose to do something like that, like in a day-to-day maybe for something fun, but not while I'm out in another area of the world or country.
Thank you, Meg. And I didn't mean to like lead the witness. I was actually thinking something else, but Jennifer, you raised your hand. Can we hear from you?
Okay, so we talked about where we would go, and we were talking about going to Hawaii because we both found that we love the beach, we love the ocean, we love to read, but a big part of it would be exploring. And both felt like we always wanted to visit Hawaii, and we both think that would be the best place to go exploring.
Nice.
Who was your partner? Who was your first?
Lori.
Nice. I saw Lori's head going.
Well, she was smiling. I was thinking probably.
I know. Miguel, did you learn anything in terms of like vacation ideas?
Yeah, Renata gave me more ideas because I think that we only had 1 or 2 days, but he says we had the whole weekend. And we and we can go to different places, and and I think it was different because maybe I didn't go to the nightclubs by myself, but with her I can.
Nice, that's awesome. Anybody else?
We're gonna go stand in line in the VIP lines and try to get past the bouncers to get in.
Nice. You can do that. You just manifest it. Kathy, I see you smiling down there. Did you guys come up with anything?
Yeah, no, we had fun. I mean, we really talked about all the things that we like to do in common, and we also sort of centered on ocean and beach, and but also just sort of exploring art and culture and everything. And so we were kind of toying between going to Puerto Rico or Costa Rica, because just trying to figure out, I think maybe, yeah, just to sort of, we're still exploring different destinations that could give us everything that we like. We also both really, hit on that we really like to play games and that sort of thing, and like to relax. So we were just trying to figuring out how that could all come together. So, but we still have some work to do to plan out the details, I have to say. But we'll have time for that, right, Autumn?
I love that. Did anyone else discover a particular thing that you may not have by working together? Or just something that you learned in the process of listening? Okay. Bill, were you going to say something?
Well, I don't think that we use the questioning and listening in a very effective way. Another thing, what do you agree, Michelin? So I think it was, I found it difficult to get Michelin to tell me what was important to her, what she would really like to do, so I found myself filling the silence by telling her what I would, so I
have an explanation for that.
Pardon?
I have an explanation for that.
Okay.
I tend to be more of a pleaser and focus on other people's desires rather than my own.
All right, there could not have been a better example to wrap this up with. The number one thing that when we're going into these conversations with people and we're bringing curiosity as a tool is to remember that it's a rare thing. People are coming from all different perspectives. They might be shy. They might be used to getting answers from other people. And the number one thing I believe that we can do to help us in building the curiosity as a tool is the space, is getting comfortable with being quiet so that, and especially for someone who needs time to think, like some people are really quick on their feet and other people, and I find that when I am feeling like I'm quick on my feet, I'm not as thoughtful. I might just be answering quickly and it's not coming from a deeper place. So when that space is created, and I'm sorry, I'm going over a couple of seconds here, that's when we can listen. That's when we can allow for someone, even if they're not answering, you maybe just ask one more question. So instead of filling the space, which is something I do all the time, Bill, I'm also learning and practicing this. That is the beauty. When I catch my brain going, oh, I'm good, I've got an idea for that. I'm like a little idea monster over here. Like I've got an idea and I did it to Meg. What we can do is, oh, let's think of a question. Bring that space to yourself and let me ask one more question that might give this person a little bit more time to think, or a way to think of it. You can even ask the same question again, just a little differently. So it's powerful stuff. I will do one more fast share and close out here, just because I wanted to leave us with this, which I thought was really beautiful. Krista Tippett is an interviewer, a reporter. Generous listening is powered by curiosity, a virtue we can invite and nurture in ourselves to render it instinctive. It involves a kind of vulnerability, a willingness to be surprised and let go of assumptions and take in ambiguity. The listener wants to understand the humanity behind the words of another and patiently summons one's own best self and one's own best words and questions. I thought that was a beautiful statement. And so I appreciate you all being here, and I hope this was valuable in some way for you today.